Hey guys, it is getting that time of year when I am getting overrun with tomatoes, and so it's time to do something with them besides just eat them fresh all the time. So I've had my share of tomato sandwiches this year, but actually I'm not tired of them. Sometimes I do get tired of them, but I'm not tired of them yet this year, so I am still making tomato sandwiches, but I'm also going to start canning my tomatoes. So today I thought I would show you the very best way to can tomatoes. And I'm sure that I have not tried every way in the world to can tomatoes, but I have found the way that I think I like the best, which is roasting them. And the way that I do it, I think it saves time on the stove whenever you're trying to boil it down to reduce it, to get rid of some of that liquid that's in it. This is a great way to eliminate a lot of the liquid, and get great flavor from roasting in the oven. So anyway, I'm going to take you along with me, and I'm going to show you how I do it, and you can make your own and judge for yourself. But I think this is the very best way to can tomatoes. So let's go. Of course, the first thing that I'm going to do is wash them and get them all laid out and figure out which ones I'm going to use. And so I've got all of them laid out, and the first thing that I do with mine is I quarter them instead of trying to cut the core out first. I just think it's easier to slice them into fours, then cut the core out, and then just start squeezing them. And so I just hold it over a waste receptacle of some kind. I just usually put all of mine in a bag and then take it and put it in a pile that I have out in the yard. Then turn them upside down, put them on your baking pan, and get ready to roast them. I roast mine on low broil first to blacken the tops just a little bit. And so while that first batch is broiling, I'm going to start working on the second batch. So I love to use heirloom tomatoes. It is my favorite. I know a lot of people like to use the Romas and different things because they have less liquid, less gel, less seeds. And I realize that, but I think it's worth it to have to get rid of all of that liquid to get the flavor of the heirlooms. I don't think there is any Roma or any other paste tomato that I have tasted that can beat the flavor of your sauces and salsa whenever you use your heirlooms. So you can see after I quarter them and cut the core off, then I just give them a squeeze. And if I see any seeds, I swipe them out. If not, I just leave them. I don't go to a great length of effort to try and get a whole lot of it out. I give it a squeeze, and then I flip it upside down in the pan and get it ready for roasting, because that gets out a lot of the liquid too. So you can see the liquid in the bottom of the pan here. I usually just tip it over sideways at the sink and just pour some of it down the drain. And then I start peeling them after they have cooled, of course, because they get pretty hot in that oven. So I had them in the oven for about 20 minutes on low broil, and those skins come right off once the tomato starts to get soft. I mean, they literally peel right off. And as I peel the skin off, I just put the part of the tomato that I'm going to keep and can in a bowl. And then, of course, I put the skins in the receptacle to be thrown away. And then there's going to be a little bit of liquid that accumulates down in the bottom of the bowl again, because that liquid is still coming out of the tomatoes. And I just take that and I pour it off as well. By the time I have done all that, I typically do not have to boil my tomatoes down at all. By the time I have squeezed them and baked them, all the liquid that I need off usually is gone. So now I'm going to go ahead and get my second batch started. And again, this is a bunch of heirloom tomatoes. I did grow some Romas this year, but this batch does not have any in it. Look at all of that color. That's another thing you don't get with the Romas and the San Marzanos. You just can't beat the heirloom colors and flavors. And then after I do that, I just go ahead and start putting them in the jars. And I fill it all the way up to about the 1-inch mark. This one will need just a few more. Man, look at that. Those colors are still beautiful, even though they're roasted now. That's still a lot of color in those tomatoes. So after I have gotten a couple batches ready, I just put them all in the jars, like I said, up to the 1-inch mark. Then I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. That's to add a little bit of extra acid in those to make sure that they do well while they're being canned, because sometimes the tomatoes do not have enough acid. I also added 2 teaspoons of salt. I don't know if I recorded that or not. We'll see here in a minute. And what I'm doing right here is just getting out the air bubbles. So you can see my jars are getting pretty full, and that's probably because I need to get some of the air out. And so I take the knife and just slide it down in beside of the tomatoes and push them in and try to purge out any air that's in there. Here we go. I'm going to put some salt in there. So I also add 2 teaspoons of salt per quart jar. And then after I've put all of the salt in there, I'm just going to stir it up as best I can and try to get out any more air that may be left in there. It just makes room for more tomatoes if you get all that air out. Be sure and always wipe the tops off so that there's nothing keeping your lid from sealing really good. Then put your lids on and put your rings on and get them ready for the pressure canner. So I've already got my water heating just a little bit before I put my jars in. And I probably have about 2 quarts of water in the bottom of that pressure canner, I think. So get your lid on and get it sealed. So I start mine off on high until it gets going really good. When it first starts steaming, you need to let it steam out that little nub that I just covered up. You need to let it steam out of that for about 10 minutes before you put your weight on. Then you put your weight on, and then you let it get up to pressure. I need to let mine get up to 15 psi for 25 minutes. And so that's what I done. And when you are finished, make sure that it has cooled down completely before you attempt to take the weight off or open your canner. So this is actually the next morning whenever I'm taking mine out. I had done it kind of late at night, so there wasn't much danger of mine still being hot. I was afraid the jars would still be a little warm, so I used the little tongs that I have to take them out, but they really weren't that hot. And that's all there is to it. So you guys give it a try, roast your tomatoes, can them, let me know what you think. This is my very favorite way to can tomatoes. Thanks for joining me. Y'all have a great night. God bless you.